Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a pivotal discussion about Canada's future. Today, we're exploring a bold proposition. Canada should become the 51st state of the United States, a move that promises to elevate our nation far beyond the speculative allure of joining the European Union. This is not a casual suggestion. It's a strategic vision rooted in economic realities, security imperatives, cultural synergies, and practical governance. As we stand on March 3, 2025, with the world shifting beneath our feet, it is time to ask, why settle for a distant partnership across the Atlantic when we can secure a transformative union right next door? For decades, Canada has thrived as the United States' closest ally geographically, economically, and culturally. Over 75% of our exports flow south, our militaries operate in lockstep through NORAD, and our people share a border that stretches nearly 9,000 kilometers. Yet, some propose we turn our gaze eastward, toward the European Union, a bloc of 27 nations separated by an ocean and entangled in its own complexities. I respectfully disagree. The United States offers Canada an immediate, tangible, and unparalleled opportunity to join the world's most powerful economy, its strongest military, and a society that already feels like an extension of our own. In this analysis, we'll unpack the overwhelming benefits of becoming the 51st state, from economic integration that could add hundreds of billions to our GDP, to security that fortifies our Arctic frontier, to a cultural platform that amplifies our voice globally. We'll weigh these against the challenges, because no decision this monumental is without hurdles, and we'll contrast them with the EU option, which, while intriguing, pales in practicality and payoff. By the end, I aim to convince you that statehood isn't just a viable path, it's Canada's best path forward, preserving our identity while unlocking a future of prosperity and power. Let's begin. Let's start with the economic case, because the numbers don't lie. Becoming the 51st state of the United States would catapult Canada into an economic stratosphere the European Union can't touch. The U.S. economy, valued at $26.9 trillion in 2024 per the International Monetary Fund, dwarfs the EU's $19.3 trillion. It's not just size, it's proximity. The U.S. is our neighbor, sharing the world's longest undefended border, with trade arteries already pumping $2.6 billion in goods daily between us, according to Statistics Canada. As a state, we wouldn't just trade with this powerhouse, we'd be part of it. Consider the current reality. 76% of Canada's exports, $557 billion in 2023, go to the U.S. From oil and gas to autos and tech. The Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement CUSMA keeps that flowing, but it's a deal, not a union. Tariffs linger on softwood lumber, dairy quotas spark disputes, and renegotiations loom every 6 years. Statehood eliminates that friction. No more borders, no more customs, just seamless commerce. Canadian businesses would sell to 330 million Americans as easily as they sell to each other, with zero trade barriers. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce estimates this could boost bilateral trade by 20%, adding $100 billion annually to our economy overnight. Then there's investment. The U.S. already pours $402 billion into Canada, per the U.S. Trade Representative, dwarfing the EU's $196 billion. As a state, we'd tap into federal infrastructure funds, think $1.2 trillion from the 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law, rebuilding our highways, ports, and grids. Compare that to the EU, where Canada's $200 billion GDP gain from joining their single market, as speculated by economists like Pierre Fortin, hinges on transatlantic shipping costs averaging $1,500 per container and a 5-day lag, per Maersk data. The U.S. is next door. The EU's an ocean away. Jobs tell the same story. The U.S. added 2.7 million jobs in 2024, per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, with unemployment at 4.1%. Canada's 1.2% growth rate pales beside the U.S.'s 2.8%. As a state, our workers would flood American markets, techies to Silicon Valley, energy crews to Texas, while U.S. firms build here lured by our resources and a federal tax rate of 21% below Canada's 26.5% blended average. The EU's 23% average corporate tax and sluggish 0.9% growth in 2024, per Eurostat, can't compete. And the dollar? Swapping the loonie for the U.S. dollar, the world's reserve currency, held in 60% of global reserves per the IMF, stabilizes our trade and slashes exchange risks. The EU's euro, while strong, serves a fractured bloc with Greece-like debt crises lurking. Statehood aligns us with a unified, dynamic economy. The EU offers a distant, diluted one. Now, let's turn to security, because in an uncertain world, strength matters. Becoming the 51st state places Canada under the United States' unparalleled military umbrella, a $916 billion defense budget in 2025, per the Pentagon, dwarfing the EU's fragmented $295 billion across 27 nations. This isn't just about money, it's about capability and proximity. Our 8891-kilometer border with the U.S. is more than a line, it's a shared destiny. Through NORAD, we already coordinate air defense, tracking threats from Russian bombers to North Korean missiles. As a state, we'd gain full access to U.S. Space Command, naval fleets, and 1.3 million active duty troops. Our Arctic frontier, increasingly eyed by Russia, which staged 2024 drills near our waters, would be locked down tight. The U.S. Navy's 11 carrier strike groups could patrol our coasts, while Canada's $26 billion defense budget, stretched thin across 68,000 personnel, gets a federal boost. Contrast that with the EU. Their common security and defense policy is a noble idea, but it's a patchwork. France and Germany bicker over priorities, and their 1.7 million troops are split across national commands, per the European Defence Agency. Canada, 4,000 kilometers away, would be an afterthought in Brussels' Arctic strategy. The U.S., meanwhile, already invests $1.2 billion annually in NORAD's North Warning System here. Statehood cements that commitment. Beyond defense, there's resilience. U.S. FEMA, with a $29 billion budget, could rush aid to wildfires in British Columbia or floods in Manitoba faster than EU solidarity funds, which took 3 months to reach Italy after 2023 floods. The EU's too far to respond. The U.S. is here. Joining them as a state ensures our safety in a way Europe never could. Let's talk culture. Because statehood doesn't erase Canada, it elevates us. The U.S. and Canada are already kin. 80% of us speak English, per Statistics Canada, and our histories intertwine from loyalists to Hollywood. Becoming the 51st state puts us on America's stage, the world's cultural juggernaut, without losing our soul. Our stars Ryan Gosling, Celine Dion, Justin Bieber already dominate U.S. charts. As a state, we'd flood their $500 billion entertainment industry with more. Imagine Canadian senators pushing for Hockey Night in America or Tim Hortons dotting every state. Our bilingualism? Quebec could mirror Louisiana's French legacy, with 2 senators and 10-12 House reps amplifying our voice, based on our 38 million population. The EU offers diversity, 24 languages, 27 cultures, but we'd be outsiders. Our multiculturalism thrives in Toronto, not tethered to Paris or Warsaw. U.S. media, from Netflix to the NFL, already beams into our homes. Statehood makes us co-creators, not consumers. The EU's cultural quilt is lovely, but distant. Their $125 billion Creative Europe Fund is a fraction of America's market, and we'd compete, not lead. Statehood blends our maple leaf into their stars, shining brighter together. Statehood's elegance lies in its simplicity. Joining the U.S. unites us with a neighbor we already mirror: one constitution, one currency, one system. The U.S. dollar, used in 88% of global transactions per SWIFT, would replace our loonie, slashing a 5% exchange cost on $557 billion in exports, per Bank of Canada estimates. No euro volatility or EU conversion hassles, just stability. Governance? We send reps to Washington, roughly 50 House seats and 2 senators with real power. States like California, with 39 million people, tweak federal rules. We could too. Preserving healthcare or gun laws our way. The EU's labyrinth is 705-member parliament. A commission and a council dilutes influence. Canada would get 30-40 MEPs, a whisper in their chorus, 4,000 kilometers from home. Unity's the clincher. One North American nation from Alaska to Florida leverages our shared grid, pipelines, and highways. The EU's 27 governments stall over crises like 2024's energy spat while the U.S. acts. Statehood fuses us into that decisiveness. Europe splits us across an ocean. No path is flawless. Statehood brings challenges. Healthcare's a big one. The U.S. spends $13,493 per capita on a mixed system per CMS versus our $6,939 universal model. But states adapt. Vermont's near universal coverage shows we could negotiate. Gun laws? Canada's 34.7 guns per 100 people versus the U.S.'s 120.5 per small arms survey means adjustment. Yet states like New York tighten rules. We could too. Taxes might rise for some, but federal funds offset that. The EU? It's a tougher sell. Their $1.2 trillion budget demands contributions. Canada's share could hit $20 billion annually, per EU formulas for distant returns. Regulations like GDPR or farm quotas would bind us without Arctic focus. Distance kills responsiveness. EU aid to Canada's 2020 for wildfires? Unlikely. The U.S. offers immediacy and influence. The EU's a bureaucratic gamble. In closing, Canada as the 51st state isn't a leap, but as a step into our destiny. Economically, we'd join a $26 trillion titan, not a $19 trillion bloc across the sea. Securely, we'd stand with the world's mightiest military, not a disjointed EU. Culturally, we'd lead in America's spotlight, not echo in Europe's halls. Governance would unify us with purpose, not tangle us in red tape. Challenges exist, but they're dwarfed by rewards, and the EU's flaws are far greater. On March 3, 2025, with the U.S. thriving next door, statehood is Canada's truest, boldest future. Let's embrace it.